Welcome back to Music Theory Logic. Andrew here, and today I wanted to talk to you about another I wish I knew. And today we're talking about confirmation bias. So I wish I knew about confirmation bias and how it impacts musicians. So first of all, what is confirmation bias? It's basically the idea, or when somebody's having confirmation bias, they're valuing the things that confirm their original viewpoint or what they thought was the correct stance on whatever they're thinking about. And any evidence that comes, things that confirm what they thought was true, they weigh or they value more than things that deny it. And you can see this in all sorts of different issues. I've heard a lot of different podcasts talking about this, but it was occurring to me recently. I don't know for any particular reason, but how this whole confirmation bias can impact musicians. So, first of all, when you're making music, it's really hard to be objective. What does that mean? It's hard to hear your music like you would have heard your music had you not been sitting in front of your computer or with your instrument for hours on hours while you were writing it. When you hear your own music, it's a very different experience than hearing the music of someone else. I think it's because you can't replicate the feeling of like truly not hearing any piece of the music and just hearing the final product from the beginning. So it's really important to try to maintain objectivity however you can as a musician. So things like listening to other music in your genre is super helpful. Not spending a lot of time when you're in the like final phase of mastering or mixing, not spending like hours on hours listening or working on your song. You want to really kind of like do a lot in a little amount of time. So you want to it to feel fresh. Chris Lord-Alge, one of the most famous mixing engineers on the planet, Muse is one of his big credits. And if you know the band Muse, you know that they have like huge sounding mixes, really kind of like revolutionary in the rock and roll space for that. And he says that he likes to get all of his mixes done in 2 to 3 hours. And somebody asked him like, there's a lot of stuff that you have to do when you're mixing a track. Like you get a bunch of stems, you have to organize the stems, you have to do effects routing, whether you're bringing plugins in a computer or you're actually routing like some sort of patch bay effects. All the stuff take time. Editing is also something that takes a lot of time. And if you're mixing a band that's not like a major label artist and having like a lot of work on there, you're probably gonna have to do some editing. So he says, get an assistant. Lots of us out there, myself included, aren't at a level or at a place where we have assistants. Thought about adding an employee, but I haven't. Management is something I haven't done before, so I may do that at some point. But essentially, it takes a lot of time to mix a track. But you want to limit things to short amount of hours. So like when you think you're done with the song, take a lot of time before you listen to it again and listen to other music. Then the things you think in the first listen or the first couple of listens, I think are more valuable than what you hear later on. And what you want to be careful of is developing strong confirmation bias. So I've worked for a bunch of different musicians over the years who hear their music a lot differently than other people hear it. And they have confirmation bias so much so that they don't take like input from people. So like, for instance, they will do a song and will think like it didn't get a lot of streams. So perhaps I need to find the right person to playlist it. Perhaps I could find a blogger to write about it. But another fact of it is perhaps like the right people heard it and it just wasn't exciting or wasn't very good. And it's hard. I've done videos where like it's hard to define like what is good in art or music. But if we're talking about specific genres, there are standards in terms of mix quality, in terms of vocals. This is a huge thing. I mean, if somebody was playing a guitar and the guitar was out of tune, we wouldn't enjoy it very much. And the same thing's true for somebody singing. I think vocals are like even more abrasive, and I don't think that like pitch correction software really can totally replace somebody who can sing well. I think it's kind of like an athlete who has a bunch of like really great natural genetics, and then they're also going to get on some sort of like steroid or like performance enhancing regimen. If they gave those performance enhancing drugs to me, being the not athlete that I am, I probably wouldn't exhibit that much benefit, but it's different if somebody is on a higher level, if that makes sense. So same thing with music. It's like autotune and Melodyne are great, but they work better with people who can really sing. And I'm not saying this that like you should, have an epiphany that your music's not very good and stop making music. That's not the point at all. But in order to make something better, we have to be able to figure out what's could be improved to begin with. And I think a lot of musicians, myself included, would benefit a lot from trying to be more objective. Again, it's impossible to be fully objective. We are the people that made the song that we're like listening to or trying to evaluate. But it really helps, and trying to stay fresh also helps, and recognizing that it's a potential problem. So hopefully this helps you. Once again, I wish I could show myself this 10 years ago, because I would have saved myself a lot of time. I obsessed about songs, and I would like listen to my own song over and over again, and listening back, like when I haven't heard these tracks in a long time or songs, it's like so obvious what I should have changed or what I don't like. And so learn from me. I hope this helps you. If this helped you, you would help me out a lot by subscribing to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. Come hang out. We talk a lot about general music, mind game, and approaches like this outside of practical composition techniques and producing. And so I also do that. I'm making tracks on the channel. I'm doing music theory breakdowns of popular tracks where I'll show you where the notes come from. I'm debuting a lot of plugins that I use in my own day-to-day work. And yeah, I hope you want to join up and hang out. So once again, my name is Andrew. If you do, I will see you next time. Have a wonderful time. Go make some music, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.